Shalom. So, I am recording this during the coronavirus pandemic, and I'm going to be coughing a lot, not because I actually have a sickness, but because I've actually been talking so much during during this whole thing that my voice, my throat is having problems. So hopefully we'll be able to get through this without too much trouble. Um, and then I'll shut up for a while. Okay, now, as promised, I wanted to talk about the word Mitzrayim, the word Egypt. And it's actually a very good way of describing what goes on with Hebrew roots. You know, the radicals. I keep on telling you that basically Hebrew words have three radicals, but some people argue that they actually have two radicals, right? And or at the very least, words started with two radicals. Okay, so more primitive roots seem to actually only have two radicals. You'll see it a lot in certain things like Bilbo, right? Tower of Babel. It's actually really, I mean, it's really a two-letter thing, or Mechalkel, right? So that's also a two-letter root for sustenance, for food, which may show up in ochel and other words. So in order to actually show this to you, I thought one of the things we could do is talk about Mitzrayim, talk about Egypt, the word Egypt, and talk about the root tzaddik resh. So that's two radical root, right? There's the tzadi and the resh. And then there are a lot of words which also have those same two roots in that order. That's important, right? And then they have other radicals, oftentimes these weak radicals in the either at the beginning, at the end, in the middle, right? So I wanted to, kind of show that to you. So we're going to do that while we talk about the word Mitzrayim. Okay? So in Hebrew, the word for Egypt is Mitzrayim. We are going to talk about the symbolism there, because in Hebrew it sounds like certain things, right? Well, and we'll get into that. But obviously this is symbolism. I mean, if you look historically at it, then the symbolism in the Hebrew word for it, I don't want to give the impression that really historians think that that's where the word came from, that the name came from. Apparently, Mitzrayim sounds a lot like other words with different roots that are used for Egypt, and so Mitzrayim is the Hebrew name for Egypt in Hebrew, and we're going to be talking about the symbolism of that. But if you actually want an etymology of that word, right, where did that word come from? That's going to, that's different, because for example, it's common today in especially biblical sources for people who are looking at the symbolism of the word Mitzrayim to talk about. So the root tzaddik resh means constriction, right? A binding and narrowness, right? And so a lot of people will say, well, Egypt, was around the Nile, and that is a thin way through Egypt, right? Because all the people were right there, and it's long and thin, and I kind of want to make it clear that's very unlikely to actually be where the word came from, although it is descriptive, because people really didn't have maps like that. They weren't seeing this, right? So this Upper Egypt, right? It's a broad area. It's quite unlikely that if you're looking from a historical point of view, the word comes from that type of thing, because people, I mean, they didn't have roots, and apparently they didn't have maps, and apparently certainly not like this, and certainly not demography maps, right? Telling them where people were, or and apparently the double language, right? Mitzrayim is plural, actually comes from the fact that there was an Upper Egypt and a Lower Egypt, right? That was something that was known. There were kingdoms, right? There were separate kingdoms, and so the Upper Egypt and Lower Egypt and Mitzrayim for Egypt, kind of that doubleness actually seems to come from the word Metzar, right, which we'll discuss, being close to the whatever the root is in Egyptian. It sounds similar, so that's what it was called in Hebrew, right? And then the doubling Mitzrayim, making it a plural noun, to kind of show that there were really two Egypts. There was Upper Egypt and Lower Egypt, and Mitzri, right, means an Egyptian. So Mitzrayim is kind of implying the double, the Upper Egypt and Lower Egypt, right? Of course, there is the other way of looking at it, which is Istakalta Ba'oraita Ubarata Alma, right? Like it says, I believe it's from the Talmud, that God looked in the Torah and created the world. So obviously, for those of us who believe that God created the world, and He created the world with Lashon HaKodesh, with the holy language, and which sort of pre-existed creation itself, right? So the causation is a little bit, it's the other way around from a theological point of view. Okay, so I wanted to show you the map there, and you can look up what they say about Arabic and other languages and stuff for yourself. So let's look at words which are similar to Mitzrayim, right? So Tzur, right, which means to lean or incline, confine, secure, besiege. Means tzorer is an adversary. it means to form something or to fashion something, right? It's one of the ways of creation, right? Um, and possibly the root yetzer, right? Which um, which it's either a will or or forming, giving shape, right? There is the similar root tzorer, right? And sometimes you'll see that these two-letter roots will double one of the roots, right? So possibly lamed bet, which has conclusion, becomes bavel, right? Um, Bet Lamed becomes Bavel, right? It doubles one of the roots, or adds a root in the middle, or adds a root at the beginning, yeah, right? Yetzer to fashion or form, or well, this is Sarah. There, it's talking about a tree. There's lots of these words, and basically there is the concept, right? And and this dictionary, which it calls itself the Bible Dictionary, I believe. Um, Abarim's publications, yeah, so they actually have roots. So you can explore that for yourself. But that's why sometimes when we're talking, I'll say you might want to keep track of the two-letter roots, right? As well as the three-letter roots, right? Because if you're trying to figure out what a word means in Hebrew, splitting the three, if you can find a two-letter root that's used commonly, splitting it will help you. Okay, so that's talking about two-letter roots. Now let's actually talk about the word Mizrayim and its symbolism in the Bible, right? So I think in a verse that really brings this out is Exodus 3:8, and we're going to take a look at it. It says, "Va'ered l'hatzilo miyad Mitzrayim ulhaloto min haaretz hahi el eretz tova urchava el eretz zavat chalav udvash el mekom hakenani והחיתי והאמורי והפריזי והחיבי והיבוסי," right? Okay, so let's just translate this. Va'ered, right? And I will, right? So this is in the first person. It's in the first person singular of the imperfect, meaning I will go down. But there is the conjunctive vav at the beginning that's flipping it, right, making it, and I did come down, right? Va'ered, and I came down. Lehatzilo, which is basically the infinitive of the hefil, which is again possibly a two-letter. This is also a two-letter root, or but so Tzadik Lamed is definitely part of the two-letter root. It means to save someone, right? Lehatzilo, and it's in the imperfect to save him, right? To cause him to be saved, right? And the vav at the end is the third-person masculine singular, telling you to deliver him, right? I don't know why they're saying them. It's the third-person masculine singular, right? Miyad, so this is the prepositional mem. Yad means hand. We have that. Mitzrayim, right, which is Egypt. Ulahaloto, so conjunctive of prepositional lamed, which this is again in the infinitive. They're saying of the hefil again. I'm kind of wondering why they're not doing the hofal, right? Because there is that lahalot as opposed to lahalit, but it may be because of the ayin, right? So to bring him up, right? So this is what I wanted to make clear. God says, I will go down, because whenever we're talking about somebody leaving the land of Israel, right? The Canaanite land that God gave to his people. Anytime somebody's leaving it, they're going down. Anytime somebody is coming into it, they're going up. And actually, Egypt is kind of the reverse. Anytime somebody goes to Egypt, they go down to Egypt. And anytime they're leaving Egypt, they're going up, right? And this is a really important. We're gonna talk more about this symbolism, right? That you're always going up when you're going to the land of Israel, and you're always going down when you go down to Egypt, right? We'll talk more about that, right? So, and to cause him to come up, right? Aliyah, right? You may have heard of the word aliyah, which means to make aliyah. In English, we'll say somebody made aliyah, somebody moved to Israel, right? Because he went up to Israel. So this is from the root Ain Lamed Hey, to go up. It is written Bechisaron. There's no Vav between the Lamed and the Tuf. If you're keeping track of that, to bring him up. Min is the preposition. Haaretz, article, and the noun land. Ha-he. Okay, so this is a kind of strange way of doing it. We do see this in the Hebrew, where it'll say something hazot, right? Hashulchan hazot, right? I don't. It right? Hazeh, hahi, that one, hahu, that one, right? It uses the article, and then it uses a pronoun, zeh or zot, for this, and he, hahu, that, for that, right? Or hahem, right? Those. So this is hahi. The Eretz land is in the feminine, so this is using the feminine singular pronoun. It's in the Eretz is feminine singular, and so hahi. So this pronoun is actually kind of being used as kind of a preposition or adjective, right? So it's that land. So this is a construction we see in Hebrew, right? That land, that specific land, right? It's emphasizing that. El is the preposition with the aleph. Eretz tova urachava, right? The word eretz again. The land tova urachava, right? Tova is we've had tov, right? In good, we've had many times. Tova is the feminine form because eretz is feminine, so the good land. Urachava, and this is also part of the reason I thought we should talk about this verse, because the root resh chet bet is something that is used often with talking about the land of Israel to contrast with Egypt, right? They're translating it as large. Obviously, there's the conjunctive vav there, and the hey puts it in the feminine because we're talking about land. but the root here is resh chet bet, right? Which means wide, right? Um, uh, a street is called a rehov, right? Because there's that width there, so people can walk between things, right? So an avenue or boulevard in modern Hebrew is called rehov, and also I believe in ancient Hebrew, right? Anyway, so rechava, right, literally means wide, and it contrasts with Mitzrayim because the root tsar, right, is talking, and we'll take a look at more of it. It's sort of it's saying it's a Mitzrayim. The word Egypt in Hebrew sounds like tsar, which means thin, right? And then the land of Israel is called Rechava, is called wide, right? So there is this constant um, opposition in the Bible between Israel and Egypt, right? So Tova or Chava, right, and Mitzrayim and Haaretz, right, the land, right, which God gave to the Jewish people, or a Chava, right? It is a good and wide land, right? So spacious, you might want to. I would probably translate it as spacious myself, but in the English, you don't see that opposition, right, in this verse. El is the preposition with the aleph. Eretz it means land. Zavat, right? So zav is zava. So zav is a root. Zayin bet, and probably the third root would be hey. This sentence, it's I'm guessing that the people who do the textual analysis are going to be like saying, oh, this has a lot of primitive roots, and it really does. So a zav or a zava is, right, it means to ooze or to flow, right? So zavat is the feminine singular construct, zava, right? The hay turns into a tuf. Zavat, it's oozing halav udvash, right? And it's kind of we don't see this too many times where you have the construct with kind of two different, right? It's zavat halav, davash, but it seems to the milk zavat, you might say, is only going on milk, because that's how a construct, the smichut, usually works, right? You have two or more nouns together and explaining something special. So this is an eretz zavat chalav. It's a land that flows with milk, udavash. So conjunctive of davash. We translate it as honey. In the Bible, it has a connotation of speaking about dates, because I think the date tree is a few times. Well, it's Tamar, but it's also Davash. So there is a honey that you can create, right, from dates, that oozes out of dates, right? So when it says honey, it may not be actually talking about bee honey. It might actually be talking about um, um, date honey. Anyway, El is the preposition with the aleph. Mekom, we've spoken about before, is a place, right? And is also, we've not going to get into it, but Mekom, and here is written Bemilui. It's written completely with the vav there, as it usually is. Ha-kenani, right? The hey there is, so it's telling you that it's being in a construct form, Mekom HaKenani, right? So Kenani, obviously, with the yud at the end, Canaanite, right? So Canaan is Canaan, Kenani is a Canaanite, and Ha-Kenani is with the article. And that's part of what I wanted to point out with Mitzri. You'll notice, it says Mitzrayim is in the plural form, but we don't say Mitzrayimi, right? We don't say that somebody is an Egyptian by saying Mitzrayimi. We say they are Mitzri. So that's a little bit. I mean, the actual root and how it's said in Arabic and other languages. Apparently, the actual origin is the word metzer, right? Which in Hebrew does mean straight, right? It means a straight, Strait, not straight as in Straight, not to go straight, but as straight as in narrow opening you can go past. That's what metzer means, and we'll get more into that. But right, so Ha-Kenani, of the Canaanites, right? Because it's in the Smichut. Ve-Hachiti. So again, we're having this construction where you have one construct that seems to be actually being constructed with several words that are being used that have the vav, the conjunctive vav before them, right? So Ha-Kenani, so the Canaanite. Ve-Hachiti, so conjunctive vav, the yud tells you that it's a proper, right? It's a proper. It turns it into ite, right? So Hiti is Hittite, right? Veha-Emori, and the Amorite, right? So again, Amor or Amora, right? Stom and Amora, Gomorrah, right? Is that with an aleph or an ayin? We will actually see, because we're gonna be talking about Stom and Amora in chapter 14, which we're getting to. Does it just talk about Stom, or does it talk about Stom and Amora? Sodom and Gomorrah, right? No, I think so far it's only talking about Stom. Stom and where's Gomorrah? This is Hagar. We're not getting into Amora yet. Amora, multitude. And Ishmael talking. Where is the story of Sodom and Amora? Recline, Sarah. Okay, this. So let's see. Sodom and Gomorrah. And in the Hebrew. Genesis. Stom and Amora is with an ayin, right? So Emori is different. I also confuse ayin with the aleph because it's said the same way in the Hebrew, but they are different, right? Ayin and aleph are different, and they should be kept separate. So when we're talking about Emori here, we are actually not talking about. Let's go back to chapter 14. which we're going to do. Okay. So that's chapter 14. So Emori is different from Gomorrah, right? It's sounds the same, but it's with an aleph, not with an ayin. Okay. Vehaprizi. So in English, you won't have that problem because you say Gomorrah with the G, which may have come from the guttural, right, with the ayin, right? Although I would have just usually what we do is we distinguish between aleph and ayin by transliterating aleph as an a and ayin as an e, right? So I would distinguish it by Amorite and Amorite if I was doing right Amor and Amor, right? Okay, Vahaprizi and the parasite, right? Same root. Vahachivi, right? Again, the same root. The Chivite, right? Vahayavusi and the Jebusite, right? Yavusi. So these are the lands of the people who were dispossessed, so that Israel could have the land, right? Okay, so what do we see here, right? We see that going to Egypt is Ered, going down, right? Mizrayim, and to come up, right? To bring him up, right? Laha'alot, right? To bring him up from that land, Egypt, right? To the land. So when we talk about the land of Israel, Eretz Israel, we are all going up, and it is Rahava. It is a wide land, as opposed to Mitzrayim, which is a narrow land. Okay? Okay. And so let's go ahead and take a look at Mitzrayim, the root, right? So it appears to be in the plural, Mitzrayim, right? Like I said, Upper and Lower Egypt. It shows up many times in the Bible. Let's see how many times it shows up. 614 occurrences, and I'm guessing that's not even including what all the Mitzris, all the Egyptians, right? So it shows up a lot in the Bible, and you can use your concordance if you want to look more into it. But that's the word Mitzrayim in the concordance, and so the root, the two-letter root, appears to be tsar, right? So tzaddik resh, which means narrow or tight, right? But you'll see, like tzarecha, your enemies, the people who cause you, will actually be having this in this chapter. The people who besiege you, right? Because tzarecha, the people who make you narrow or tight, right? The besiegers. Hatzar, hatzorer etchem, again in Numbers. So you can see the word tsar, how it seems to be the root, but or tzorer, you could say it's the three-letter root tzaddik resh resh with that doubling of one of the roots, right? Or like we talked about the two-letter root, and let's look at some other words which also, right? Tzaddik resh resh, to bind, to tie up, right? You can look at tzorer in the Bible. It shows up how many times in the Bible? It shows up 52 times. Relatively well used word, right? And it's even actually apparently used for a rival wife, right? Yeah, I think Sor. Um, yeah, so you can see how other words use that same root, like it explains here, right? The same two-letter radical becomes a three-letter radical, and there's a lot of words that starts with um, tzadik resh, right? Including tsarich, right? Things that you need. But you can play with that. I just wanted for people to recognize how that two-letter root, three-letter root interacts, and this is more of a direct, like we said, Mizrayim as opposed to the land of Israel, right? This is more using in Psalms 118:5, very famous verse. This is used in Hebrew prayer a lot. Min hametzar karati ka anani bemerchavya, right? So again, this is same type of thing, right? Min hametzar, so min means preposition. Ha-metzar, the article, and then metzar this is place of distress, but it means a place that is narrow, right? Like Mitzrayim, right? Ha-metzer, right? Like, so I called from the metzar, from a place of distress or narrowing. Karati, right? The root is gofresh aleph, to call. We've had many times. The top and the yud, put it in the perfect call of the first person singular. Karati, I called, right? Ka is one of the names of God. It is an abbreviation of the Tetragrammaton. It's two of the four letters. Ka. I'm changing the yud to a k because we don't want to say God's name for no good reason. Although we're studying the Bible, so that is a good reason. But still, want to be respectful of the name and not use it too much. So karati ka, I called to God. Anani, right? So the root here is ayin nun hey. The hey has absconded, and don't mistake this with the root ayin nun nun. That's different. This is anani, and he answered me, right? Lahanot, right? The hey has absconded in the kal perfect, the third person masculine singular. And the root nun yud, like hineni, right? We say here we are, right? That is what makes it the first person collective singular. God answered me, right? So I call to God from emetzar, from a place of narrowness. Anani ba merchavka, right? So prepositional bet with the article, and merchav, right? The root here is resh het bet, which is broad, right? Merchav is a place that is broad. Ba merchav, in the place that is broad, from the place in the place that is broad. The preposition bet is actually interesting here, because it's implying that God richly, right? Some people do translate this as God answered me richly, right? Ba merchav ka, and again, we have one of the holy names. So you see that that same symbolism of narrowness to wideness in the Hebrew, Egypt to the land of Israel, right? We also say this is symbolic of the shofar, which you may have heard, right? You blow on the small end, and then and the sound of it comes from the large end, right? So the call of the shofar is kind of similar to this, um, but this symbolism is something that shows up in the Bible. It's and certainly within Judaism, we talk about that symbolism of being saved from Egypt, right? Is being saved from a place of tightness, of narrowness, into a place that of plenty and I guess a cornucopia also kind of shows that same idea, right? Um, so, right, Rahav, this is the root, and it's used many times in the Bible. It's also the name of the innkeeper at the beginning of Joshua. So it's used 21 times. You can look at all the times, but this Rahava, this broadness, right? Rachav, resh, chet, bet, is the antonym of tsar, of being a something that is narrow, like Egypt. Okay, and merchav, right? That's the actual word. It is a place. It is a broad place, right? So you can look in your concordance to see more places where there is this distinction between the word merchav itself only shows up 6 times, which is actually quite a bit. But you can look up all the rachavs, right, the widenesses, and see that distinction, that contrast between the two, which shows up in the Bible many, many times. Okay, so that was my little exposition of 2-letter roots and 3-letter roots, 2 radical roots, 3 radical, right? We refer to those letters as radicals because they're part of the roots. And the word Egypt as opposed to the land of Israel. Okay? And you can, if you have any questions or anything, of course, comment below. I would love to read, see what you have to say. And if you have any questions for me, obviously I will try to answer them to the best of my ability. But that was Egypt and Tsar. Okay. Now, let's get back into the Bible. We were doing Genesis chapter 13 was the last one we did, and now we're in Genesis 14. 1. Let's get going. Veyehi b'yemei Amrafel melech Shinar, Aryoch melech Elsar, Kedorlaomer melech Elam, Tidal melech Goyim. Right? So we're talking about the War of the 5 Kings, and we're going to give a little bit of history of Abraham's life. And obviously this is something which the Kabbalists spend a lot of time, the precise words and the precise names. I'm not going to do that. You can look those up if you like. But there is a symbolism that some people want to learn from these historical names, right? So Vayehi, so conjunctive of Yehi is the imperfect, but it's being flipped right, to the perfect by that vav of the of the root to be, right, lihiot. Beyeme in, so this is in the construct form, right? So the the bet is the prepositional bet. It does not have an article, right? In English we say in the days, but in Hebrew the article's not there. Yamei, so yom is a day, yamim is days, right? Yomayim, just to be clear, is 2 days, right? So that's a way of conjugating nouns in Hebrew to say two, right? Chodshayim means two. Chadashim means months. Chodshayim means 2 months, right? Yamim means days. Yomayim means 2 days. But this is a beyame, and the mem is not there because it's in the construct form with the name Amrafel. Excuse me. So the days of Amrafel, that's his name. But it's in the construct there. Melech means king. The root there is mem lamed chaf. Shin-ar, and so melech Shin-ar, that is in the construct form as they're implying. Shin-ar is the name of the place. Aryoch is a name. Melech, again, king of, right? Because it's in the construct form. Melech, well, so it's not, I mean, the word melech in the construct form or outside of the construct form looks the same, but from the way we read it, it's obvious that this is being used as a construct. Melech El-Asar, right? So El-Asar is the place. Melech El-Asar is the king of El-Asar. Kedar LaOmer, Melech Elam. So actually, I mean the chaf. It seems, I mean, you could say that it is a as if you want to kind of darshan this, but the easy way of doing it, it seems like it's the full thing is his name, and his name just starts with the word with the letter chaf. Yeah, Kedar LaOmer is the name. Melech Elam is the king of Elam. V'tid'al, so conjunctive of tid'al, again, is a name. Melech Goyim, and here the word Goyim seems to be used as a proper noun, not the word as it means, but obviously Goyim is the nations, right? But if it was using it that way, it would actually probably it would take the article Melech HaGoyim, right? The king of the nations, but it's not really doing that. Yeah. Melech Goyim. So here, at least, the word Goyim seems to be a proper noun. Okay, let's look at the King James, verse 14. Chapter 14, verse 1, and it came to pass in the days of Amraphel, king of Shinar, Arioch, king of El-Asar, Kedar LaOmer, king of Elam, and Tid'al, king of nations. So they're actually translating it as the word nations. I'm going to have to disagree with that. I don't think that's correct. I can see where they got it from. But I think if that was the meaning of it, it would say Melech Ha-Goyim, right? It would say the king of the nations in Hebrew. Just seems to be like that. And apparently, NIV agrees. At the time when Amraphel was king of Shinar, Arioch, king of El-Asar, Kedar LaOmer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of Goyim. Right? So let's see what the root says. So they're saying that's Babylonia. They're saying Aryoch is Babylon, Babylonia, they're calling it. And also in verse 9. Let's see what Chabad does with it. Chapter 14. Sorry. No. Hold on. What am I doing? Oh, right. Chapter 14. Sorry. Okay. And now it came to pass in the days of Amraphel, the king of Shinar, Arioch, the king of Elasar, Kedar Laomer, the king of Elam, and Tidal, the king of Goyim. They're also doing, saying it is a place name, and Rashi also says that if you want to take a look at the Rashis there. Okay, so Asu milchama et Bera melech Sdom ve'et Birsha melech Amorah. That's where it was Amorah. I knew it was in this chapter. Shinar melech Adma ve'Shem Ever melech Tzivoyim. And you'll see here that we have it's written one way but said in a different way, right? So that's why you have it that way. The Masoretic text is written without the vav, and it's said with a vav. So that's. But again, this is a proper name. Umelech Bela Hi Tzoar. Okay, so let's go ahead and read it. Asu, right? Milchama. So this is, the root here is Ayin Sin He, right? To make. And the He absconds. It's in the Kal perfect for the third person plural. So Asu, right? That's the Vav. It makes it into the third person plural. They made. Milchama. So Milchama means war. And it's, I mean, so you can actually try to darshan, understand that the symbolism of war by trying to say that the root is lamet het mem, like Bethlehem, right? So milchama, Bethlehem, there's a whole thing there. We won't get into it, but milchama is war. So asu milchama, they made milchama, they made war, right? And lachmu actually also, right, is a verb. So this does come from the root lamet het mem. Yeah. So you can look into that if you like. Et is the direct. They're saying preposition here. No, this is the direct object marker, I believe. Yeah, I don't know why they're saying it's the preposition. Et sometimes is used as a preposition, but I don't believe that's what's going on here. They made war, I would say, upon. If it was the preposition, it would be with. But if you were going to say that, it would mean that these people were together fighting. That's not the with that we're talking about here, right? So it's not that they're fighting with together as allies. They're actually fighting against each other, which is why I'm saying it's the direct object marker. Okay, et Bera, which is a place, Melech Sdom, right? So king of Sodom, Sdom, right? Melech, we just had. Ve'et, so again, and upon, right? This is the direct object marker. I disagree. I don't think it's the preposition. The et birsha and to birsha, which is his name. Melech Amorah, the king of Gomorrah. So Sodom and Amorah. Shinab. I may have said Shinar before. This is Shinab. Sorry. Melech Adma, right? The king of Adama, wherever that is. Obviously, Adma kind of sounds like it could be clay, right? The place of clay, Adama, right? Veshem Ever, so conjunctive vav, Shem Ever is the name. Melech Tzivoim, the king of Tzivoim, and like we said, this is written differently. There are a few times that, that happens that it's written one way and it's said another. Tzivoim is how it's read. Umelech, so conjunctive vav, melech means king, bela, he Tzoar, and the king of, so I'm guessing, it's not clear to me if Shem Ever was the king of Tzivoim, and yeah, it seems like he was the king of both Bela and Tzivoim, but, or you could say, which is, so, okay, you can translate this two ways. You can say that Shem Ever was the king of Tzivoim, and the king, right, conjunctive of Melech, Bela, and the king of Bela, he Tzor. So the word, the pronoun he is being used as it's sometimes is as a substitution for the verb to be in Hebrew, which we don't have. We don't have a present tense of the word he. So Bela he Tzor. So you could say, so Melech Bela he Tzor, and the king of Bela is Tzor, so that's the name of the king of Bela. Or you can translate this, which it seemed to me might be how I would do it, that Shem Ever was the king of Tzivoim and Bela was also called Tzor, right? It has the same name. That both of those make sense to me. I am wondering how what Rashi and the translations have to say, but let's look. Verse 2. That these made war with Bera, king of Sodom, and with Birsha, king of Gomorrah, and Shinab, king of Adma, Shem Ever, king of Tziboi, and the king of Bela, which is Zoar, right? And so that they're translating it that way. See, I don't like that. And one of the reasons I don't like that is because we don't have the ets, right? So there's the direct object marker here with birsha, right? So but with Shem Ever, there's no direct object marker, right? There's no direct object marker here before Shem Ever, Melech Tzivoim, Melech Bela Hitzor. So, not exactly clear. Let's see what NIV does with it. These kings went to war against Bera, king of Sodom, Birsha, king of Amorah, Shinab, king of Adma, Shem Ever, king of Tzivoim, and the king of Bela, that is Tzor. So they're actually leaving the ambiguity. Well, they use the Oxford comma there. I mean, so they're also saying the king of Bela was Zohar pretty much. Although there is that ambiguity there. Let's. I'm wondering what so they waged a war with Bera, the king of Stom, and with Birsha, the king of Amora, Shinav, the king of Adma, and Shem Ever, the king of Tziboim, and the king of Bela, which is Zohar. Interesting. Rashi is saying Shem Ever. Okay, he's darshaning the names. Bela. So he's saying Bela is the name of the city. Rashi seems to be saying the same, right? Bela Hitzor. Melech Bela Hitzor. So is Rashi saying? I almost want to look on the commentaries of Rashi, but this would turn this into a Rashi class, and that's not what we're doing. But and this is actually quite historical. So, but makes me wonder. We'll see. Okay, you can look further into that if you like. Okay. Kol ele chavru el emek hashidim hu yam hamelach. Okay. Kol means all. Ele means these, right? It's the pronoun. So kol ele, so all of these. Chavru, so the root here is chet bet resh, which means to collect together, to put together, right? Chaver is a friend, right? We see that word in the Bible. I believe we see it in the Bible. Yeah, Chaver means friend, or a chibur is actually a like a book. We'll refer to it as a chibur, as a kind of collection, right? So Chaver means join together, to come together. The vav at the end puts it in the third person collective plural, right? All of these chavru, all of these became friends together, right? Got together. El is the preposition with aleph. Emek is a valley, right? The root ayin mem kof, right? Amuk means depth, right? So this so an emek is a place that goes down, right? Which is a valley, right? Comes from the roots ayin mem kof, which is low. Okay, ha shidim. The that's the name of it. Emek hashidim. So the noun. I mean, this is a construct form. The article tells us that, and shidim is a name, right? They're translating as sidim. So they join together. They're saying in el. I almost want to say upon, but maybe that would be more ayin. Yeah. So if you're keeping track of where the root is where the preposition is aleph and the preposition is ayin, this is a preposition that's with aleph. Okay. Who, again, this we're using the third person masculine singular pronoun as a substitute for the word to be, right? Yam Hamelach. That is, Yam Hamelach is the Dead Sea, right? Literally in Hebrew, the Salt Sea, right? We call but today it's called the Dead Sea. And Yam means sea. It has the article because this is this is one construction. This is one smichut, sea and salt. So it is the sea of salt, right? let's see what the translations say. King James, all these were joined together in the Vale of Siddim, which is the Salt Sea. So they're kind of saying that there's a Salt Sea there, which is, I'm not sure I agree with that. I think that may be separate from the Dead Sea. NIV seems to not go with that. Okay, let's look at the NIV. All these latter kings joined forces in the valley of Siddim. That is the Dead Sea Valley. So that, I like that better. Let's see what Chabad says. All these joined in the valley of Siddim, which is the Dead Sea. Right? And Rashi says similarly. You can look there if you like. So this valley became, it was called Emek Hasidim, and it became the Salt Sea, right? So when we talk about it, that's the Salt Sea. Okay. Shtem Esre Shana Abdu Et Kedar Laomer Ushlosh Esre Shana Maradu. Interesting. Okay. So Shtaim is 2, Shtem Esre, right? So this is Shtem Esre is 12. So Shtaim and Esre is kind of 2 and 12, but Shtem Esre is actually, let's say in the construct form, Shtem Esre is 12. Right? Shtem Esre Shana, 12 years. Shana means years. Avdu, this is the root Ayin Bet Daled, which means to work, to serve. Also, like we say, avodat habayit, right? The temple work. We also refer to prayer and sacrifices as avodah. Okay, like a prayer service, right? Excuse me. Shana Abdu Et Kedar Laomer. So this is the direct object marker, and Kedar Laomer is his name. So for 12 years, they served him. Ushlosh Esre. And so conjunctive of Shalosh means 3. Shlosh Esre is 13. Shana, so 13 years. Maradu. The root here is Mem Resh Daled, and it's in the Kal Perfect, third person collective plural. Maradu, they rebelled. Limrod means to rebel, and you can use your concordance there. Okay, King James, 12 years they served Kedar Laomer, and in the 13th year they rebelled. Oh, Ushlosh Esre. No, I don't like that. They're saying in the 3rd year, Ushlosh Esre Shana Maradu. Let's see what King NIV says. For 12 years they had been subject to Kedar Laomer, but in the 13th year they rebelled. They're also saying in the 13th year. Let's see. Maybe Chabad is no. For 12 years they served Kedar Laomer, and for 13 years they rebelled. Yeah. I'm not sure why they do that. Why they're saying in the 13th year. I guess because 12, they see it's 12, 13, 14, but the words themselves don't say that. Right? It would be, if it was the 13th year, it would say Hashana Shlosh Esre, right? Or Shlosh Esri, right? The 13th year. I guess 13th is also kind of it's not a easy conjugation in Hebrew. I guess they're going off of the fact that it says 12, 13, 14, so they're saying that it's talking about the 13th year as opposed to 13 years, but I don't like that for an additional reason, because as much as in English it seems like saying 12, 13, 14 would mean it's ordinal, from what I've read, saying 12 and 13 and 14, that type of going up each year, right? In the numbers, the minyan, right, as cardinal numbers, is also something that's common in Hebrew texts. So I think they might be kind of imposing a um, non-Semitic idea of the ordinal, of the ordinal, which doesn't really exist. I don't think in Hebrew. I would say 12 years and then 13 years. Okay, next verse. Uva arba esre shana ba kedar laomer v'hamlachim asher ito v'yaku et Raphael ba'ashtorot karnaim ve'et hazuzim beham ve'et ha'emim b'shaveh kiryatayim. Okay, so Uva arba esra shana. So this makes it weird. Okay, so conjunctive vav, there's the bet and in 14th year, you could say that uva arba esra shana, but it almost seems like and in 14 years. Yeah, I guess I see it a little bit more, that you could say 14th year, that this is in the 14th year, because of the uve and in 14 years. But I mean, if I'm translating it myself, I would say, and so they 12 years served him, and 13 years they rebelled against him, and for 14 years they did, Bam Kedar Omer Abraham Lachim, right? So that's what makes sense to me. Okay. Esra, Arba Esra is obviously 14. Shana is year. Ba, the root is Bet Aleph Hey. The Hey absconds. Came, right? Kedar LaOmer is his name. V'hamlachim. So conjunctive vav. Hey is the article. Melech is means king. Melachim is in the plural, right? And the kings. Asher is the pronoun relative, usually translated as that. Ito. So, okay. Ito and Oto, when you are, so this is how you actually know when it's conjugated with that vav. You know whether it's saying the preposition with, or if it's the direct object marker. Here, it's not the direct object marker. It's the preposition, because it's ito. If, which, it's bechisaron, so this is the received tradition of the candellations, but if it was the direct object marker, it would be oto, right? With holam. Okay. With him, right? Asher ito, which were with him. Well, actually, I mean, that wouldn't make sense at all, right? Because there's no, asher oto, right? No, that it couldn't possibly be the direct object marker. even without that clarity in the vocalizations, that's what you would say. Anyway, vayaku. So this is a very strange verb, although it shows up a lot, right? I would say the root is hey, chaf, hey, and both heys have absconded, both at the beginning and the end. That's why it's so short. Um, they're saying it's in the he feel, and I kind of uh, eh, I I would have guessed it's in the poel. It's in the simple, right? Lahakot, to hit. Um, yeah, I would actually put it in the poel. Um, anyway, conjunctive vav, the yud puts it into the imperfect. The chaf um, is the only radical which is showing itself, right? So you can, how you're gonna, so which 2 or 3 letter radical this isn't quite clear, but yeah, hey, and this does show up many times in the Bible. So they're saying the root is a nun chaf hey. I'm not sure that makes sense to me, because here in Genesis 8, lehakot, that's the infinitive. That doesn't make sense to me. I don't know why they're saying it's nun chaf hey. I would have said it's hey chaf hey. Okay, vehikuni, right? It shows up several times in the Bible. How many times? Let's see. 500 times. Wow, I didn't realize. But yeah, to strike. It's I guess it's used. I mean, it's so irregular, but it's used a lot. Okay, Vayaku, and they struck, right? They smote. Oftentimes, we'll say that God struck someone, right? Smote someone, but that's what it means. Vayaku, and they attacked. Et is the direct object marker. Rephaim, sorry. So because, I mean, I would normally think it's a place, but Rephaim, apparently the Rephaites, yeah, I would say they attacked people from Rephaim. Yeah, Rephaim. It's plural, so Rephaites, right? Yeah, okay. Be'ashtarot karnaim. So prepositional bet, Ashtarot karnaim is a name, but it's also very clearly Ashtarot could very clearly be a forest of Asherah trees. Ashtarot karnaim means horns, right? So I mean, you can look up the name, but Ashtarot Karnaim, you could say is a place. So ve'et, and so conjunctive vav. Excuse me. Direct object marker ha zuzim. So this is more clearly, it uses the article, so we know it's not a place. Zuzim, the Zuzites, right? Zuzim, beham. So they struck the Zuzim. So prepositional bet in ham, wherever ham is. Ve'et ha'emim. So conjunctive vav again. Et is the direct object marker. Amim is the Emites, right, with the article, right, hey, and it's in the plural. Beshave Kiryatayim, again, this could be names, but Shaveh also in Hebrew means equal, so it may be plains of Kiryatayim, right? So you can look up meanings of names if you like. Okay. King James, and in the 14th year, or in the 14th year, came Kedorlaomer and the kings that were with him, and smote the Rephaim in Ashtarot Kernaim, and the Zuzim in Ham, and the Emins in Shaveh Kiryatayim. Okay. NIV, in the 14th year, Kedorlaomer and the kings allied with him. I'm not sure where they got that allied. With him went out. Bah, they came. I'm not sure why they're saying came out. Went out. I would say they came and defeated. So they're translating hiku as defeated. I think smote, right? That is, yeah, they attacked them. It doesn't necessarily mean that they won the battle, but it does mean there is a battle. So I don't know why they said defeated. That would I would think that would be different. The Rephaites in Ashtarot Kernaim, and the Zuzites in Ham, and the Emites in Shaveh Kiryatayim. Okay. Let's see what. So here it's in the 14th year. Kedorlaomer came, and the kings who were with him, and they smote Rephaim in Ashtarot, and the Zuzim in Ham, and the Emim in Shaveh Kiryatayim. So they're kind of mixing the two, right? For 12 years. And he's saying in the 14th year of the rebellion. That's what Rashi says. And Rashi's just explaining that the Zuzim are also called Zamzumim in Deuteronomy 2:20. Yeah. So whether you want to say in 14 years or on the 14th year, which makes sense. I understand how everyone's doing it, why everyone's doing it. I would probably, if I was translating it myself, say for 14 years. But yeah, I understand. And in the 14th year. Okay. So, ve'et hachori beharam se'er ad el paran asher al hamidbar. So conjunctive vav et is the direct object marker. Hachori. So it's switched from Hachorim to Hachori, the Horites. So it's in the singular. The Horite. Beharam. Yeah, I mean, I see why they're saying it's in the mountains. That makes sense. So you have the prepositional bet, the hey, no article, but har is a mountain, hararam, their mountains. The mem is third person masculine plural in their mountain. I would actually probably translate that hararam as a proper name. The haram seir of Seir. So they're saying Har Seir, the mountain of Haram Seir may be a place. I mean, Seir is obviously a proper name. we'll see how they do it. Ad is until, right, as far as it's a preposition. El Paran, right, it's two words, but it makes sense. It's a proper name, El Paran. Don't confuse this with the name of God. El here is has a yud, so it's clearly not talking um, about God. Maybe talking about a deer, but not about God. Asher is the pronoun relative. Al is the preposition with the ayin. Ha midbar, right? So hey is the article. Midbar, they're translating as wilderness, right? We often translate that as a desert, right? Midbar. Literally, it means, I mean, the root you would say is Dalet Bet Resh, which, ooh, that can be really complicated. Why Midbar is a place of speaking, maybe of things. Interesting. Probably may want to look at, yeah, see, they say Strong's Concordance also says um, desert. Uh, yeah, you can look. I mean, possibly it comes. We use the word so many times. How many times does it show up as a? It shows up 271 times in the Bible. So yeah, midbar oftentimes translated as desert, but here as a wilderness. I understand wilderness. Um, let's see how they're translating it. Okay, verse 6 in the King James, and the Horites, it's not in the plural in the Hebrew, in their Mount Seir until El Paran, which is by the wilderness. By the wilderness. Well, yeah, I guess. So that's a curious preposition to put there. Al Hamidbar, which is upon the. That is a bit of a curious. So I can understand why you would say by. Let's look at NIV. And the Horites in the hill country of Seir, as far. So they're doing hill country because Har would be mount, and they're doing Harar, right, is a hill country. As far as El Paran, near the desert. Okay? Chabad, um, and the Horites in their mountain Seir, um, until the plain of Paran, which is alongside the desert. So I'm just gonna look at the Rashis because I'm curious. So he says Haram, right, is a mountain, is and he's apparently that's from the Targum in Onkelos. The plain of Paran, El Paran. So they're translating El Paran as the plain of Paran. I would have I would have thought so. Let's see. Hebrew El, according to its Aramaic translation, it means a plain. I say, however, that El does not mean a plain, but rather that the plain of Paran was named El, and that the plain of Mamre was named Eloneh, and that the plain of Jordan was named Kikar, and that the plain of Shittim was named Avel Shittim. Okay, from number. And similarly, Balagad, plain of Baal. Though they are translated Mishor, plain, each one has its name accompanying it. So Rashi's actually thinking that no, it's actually. Yeah, he's thinking that it is El Paran, right? Is the name. Uh, um, it's Al Hamidbar, right? Rashi asks why alongside the desert, like in Numbers 2:20, the Allah like alongside them was the tribe of Menashe, and apparently this is all from the Targum. Okay, let's keep on going. Verse 7. Veyashuvu veyavou el ein mishpat hi kadesh veyaku et kol ste ha'amaleki amaleki vegam et ha'emori ha'yoshev bechatzetzon tamar. Okay. So, Veyashuvu. So the root here, there's shin bet, means to turn back, right? Veyashuvu. It's written bechisaron without a vav there, but the yud says it's imperfect. The vav at the beginning flips it, and they turned back and they went back. Veyavo. So again, root is bet aleph, right? We've had this before, and they came, right? Because it's being flipped by the vav. El is the preposition with the aleph, not ayin. Ein mishpat, right? Yeah, this is very clearly the name means ein in Hebrew means I, and mishpat means justice or law, right? So ein mishpat. It's the name, but it also has a meaning, which is pretty obvious. He, all right, the pronoun is being used as the verb to be in the present tense, and it is kind of curious that sometimes he is still written with the vav, but said as he, and the vav is silent. I guess if you want to keep track of that, you could. I haven't been pointing it out because most of the places he is written with a vav. A few places it's written with a yod. Anyway, he Kadesh. That is Kadesh. Kadesh is a name that actually shows up a lot, but obviously the root there is Kof Daled Shin, which means holy, right? He Kadesh. Veyaku, we just had Yaku before, and they attacked, they smote. NIV for some reason thinks it's defeated. Et kol, so the direct object marker. Et kol, kol meaning all. Ste, right? So as sadeh, I think we've had that before. Is a field, but ste ha'amaleki is the fields. The fields of the Amalekites, or they're translating country of the Amalekites. Okay. Vegam, so conjunctive vav, and gam is the conjunction also. Et is the direct object marker. Ha-emori, so article, emori, Amorites with an aleph, and it doesn't have the vav as it usually doesn't. Ha-yoshev, so the article he, Yoshev, is written with the chisaron without a vav. They're translating as dwelling. I would say that lives, that is situated, that dwells. I guess I try to always use dwell for shachen, right? Because that has a different thing. I usually Yoshev, I usually do settle, right? The roots there, obviously, there's the shin and the bet. Yin, yun, yud. I would say yud here is part of the radicals. Um, that is the root is a three-letter yud, shin, bet. Um, Yeah, I think that's pretty clear. It would not make sense if you were trying to say that the yud is part of the conjugation. Be chatzitzon. So be is the preposition. Chatzitzon, tamar. I mean, I guess you could try understanding it. Tamar means dates, right? Means a date. Chatzitzon tamar, whatever that means. Chatzitz, it doesn't have a meaning, but you can look that up if you like. Okay. Um, King James, and they returned and came to En Mishpat, which is Kadesh, and smote all the country of the Amalekites and also the Amorites that dwelt in Chatzitzon Tamar. Okay. NIV. Then they turned back and went to En Mishpat, that is Kadesh. So the NIV is keeping the words that are two words in the Hebrew, also two words in the English, which I prefer. That is Kadesh, and they conquered the whole territory of the Amalekites. So they're translating ste as territory, as well as the Amorites who were living in Hatzaton Tamar. Okay. Let's see here. And they returned and came to Ein Mishpat, which is Kadesh, and they smote the entire field of the Amalekites and also the Amorites who dwelt in Hatzaton Tamar. You can look at the Rashis if you like for the meanings of the thing. Fields of the Amalekites, Rashi's asking a question here. Amalek had not been born, but it was giving this appellation because in the future, right? So they weren't actually, that's the place, the Amalekites weren't there yet to be to be attacked themselves, right? It's just that place is the place of them. Okay. Verse 8. Vayetze melech Sdom umelech Amora umelech Adma umelech Tzevoim umelech Bela hi Tzoar veyarhu itam milchama be'emek hasidim. Okay, interesting. So vayetze, conjunctive vav, the yud puts it in the imperfect. It's obviously being flipped by the vav at the beginning. The root, I would say, is hey tzaddik aleph, and the hey has absconded, means to go out, right? Vayetze, melech is, and it's in the singular.
Hey Jacob, how you doing?
Oops, sorry about that. Vayetze. Melech Stom. So it's in the singular. Vayetze Melech Stom umelech Amora umelech Adma umelech Tzivoyim. So went out Melech Stom, right, the king of Stom. I'm a little confused why it's not in the plural, Vayatsu, right? But it's in the singular. And went out the king of Stom, Umelech Amora, and the king of Amora, and the Melech of Adma, and Melech of Tziboim, and like before, Tziboim is said a little bit differently than how it's written. Umelech Bela, and the king of Bela, Hitzor. So, and the king of Bela, and again, it's very similar language. Hitzor, which is so very similar language. Does it? I guess, I mean, if you're interested in which is Tsar, we were looking in so Shem Ever, the king of Tzivoim, and the king of Bela, which is Tsar. So here it says Shem Ever Melech Tzivoim Melech Bela Hi Tsar. It does the same thing over again, right? And it says Melech Adma Melech Tziboim Melech Bela Hitzor, right? It seems to me it's telling you, because it doesn't name any of the other ones, right? It calls them by their thing, so by their name. I mean, it just calls them the king of the place. So I think this would be proof that Bela Hitzor, Bela and Tsar are place names. So I would translate verse 2 accordingly. I would say that Shem Ever was the king of Tziboim and the king of Bela, which is Tsar. Which isn't exactly how people, the other one, and people are doing it. But that's what it seems like to me. Okay. Let's go back here. Hitzor veyarhu. So conjunctive vav, the yud is putting it in the imperfect. The root is ayin resh chaf, right? So that is to arrange or to set out, like, right? Shulchan Aruch, right? The set table. Veyarhu, and they arranged or put it right. The vav is the third person masculine plural. So imperfect, right? V'yarchu, it's getting flipped with the vav, and they arranged with them, itam, right? If it would be otam if it was the direct object marker. This is the preposition itam, with them, right? Milchama, battle, war, right? We had milchama before. V'yarchu itam milchama be'emek hasidim. So bet is the prepositional bet. What does that mean? Yarchu itam milchama, and they, and why is it in the plural whereas veyetze is in the singular? Maybe Rashi will say. What does it mean to arrange with them battle? By the way, with them, the them is definitely going off the kings, so that should be clear. Itam milchama be'emek hasidim. So prepositional bet. Emek is a valley. We discussed that before. Ayin mem kof. Hasidim with the article, because this is in smichut. The article goes on the last noun. Sidim is our, Sidim, proper name. or the Siddites, right? But I think that's Stom. The Interesting. Let's see how it's being translated. Verse 8. And there went out the king of Stom, right? And the king of Amorah, and the king of Admah, and the king of Tzivoim, and the king of Bela, the same is Zoar. And they joined battle with them. So they're saying joined battle with them in the vale of Sidim. Yarhu Itam. Interesting. Let's see. Verse 8 in the NIV. Then the king of Sodom, and the king of Amorah, and the king of Admah, and the king of Tzivoim, and the king of Bela, that is Zoar, marched out and drew up their battle lines in the valley of Sidim. So they're saying Vayarhu Itam Milchama is, and they made battle lines. I guess, yeah. Let's see what Chabad says. Verse 8, and the king of Sodom, and the king of Amorah, and the king of Admah, and the king of Tzivoim, and the king of Bela, which is Zoar, came forth, right? Vayetze came forth, and they engaged them in battle in the valley of Sidim. Okay, I guess. Although Sidim may be. Okay, so Stom is written with a samech, I believe always, and this is with a sin, which is what kind of made me think. Sin and samech do sometimes get. So, I mean, won't get too much into it, but this might be referring to the Sidim might be the people from Stom, I think. Anyway, I am not a biblical geographer, so someone who keeps track of this stuff would know much better than I do. Okay. Et Kedar Laomer Melech Elam V'tid'al Melech Goyim V'amrafel Melech Shinar V'aryoch Melech El Asar Arba Melachim Et HaChamisha. So that might explain why. Right, we had king of Stom, that's 1. King of Amorah, that's 2. King of Admah, that's 3. That's 3. King of Tzivoim, that's 4. And king of Bela would be 5. Right? So it says 4 kings against 5. And these are Kedar Laomer, Tid'al, Amrafel, and Aryoch. It's 4. Right? So these are the 4. So that's the 5. So Zoar, so that might be why they're saying Zoar is the name of the king, as opposed to the king of Tzivoim was also the king of Bela. Interesting. I mean, I don't want to get too much into this. I'm not a genius. It's not stuff I'm really big into, but if you are and you have questions, you might. I mean, you might want to do that. Okay. Did we do? Did we? Arba Melachim. Let me just make sure I did. Okay. I'm not sure if I did this verse, so we're going to do it again. Because I'm horrible at remembering and editing my videos. So sorry about that. Et Kedar Laomer, right, so against Kedar Laomer, which I his name we keep on saying, Melech Elam, who's the king of Elam. So et here, I would disagree with them and say it's actually the direct object marker, but against makes sense. They're saying it's the preposition. I don't with. I would say it's the direct object marker. It doesn't make a huge difference. Kedal Omer, Melech Elam, king of Elam, Vetidal, so conjunctive vav. Tidal is the name. Melech Goyim, king. They're translating it as nations, but again, I would say Goyim is a place. Amrafel, Melech Shinar, Amrafel is the name, conjunctive vav. Melech Shinar, king of Shinar. Aryoch, conjunctive vav again. Aryoch is the name. Melech El Asar, he's the king of El Asar. Arba Melachim, so Arba is 4. And right, Arba is the masculine because Melachim is masculine, right? Arba Melachim, or it wouldn't have the hey, right? Melachim et hachamisha, against this I would say is the preposition, not the direct object marker, because there's no verb for that to be the direct object marker. Okay, yeah. Et hachamisha, 4 kings on 5. Let's see how it's getting translated. King James, and there went out the kings of Sodom, and the king of Amorah, and the king of Admah, and the king of Tziboim, and the king of Bela, the same is Zoar, and they joined battle with them. I just read that again. I'm sorry. With Kedar Laomer, the king, so joined battle with them in the Velas, so that's the join battle. So that does have a verb that could go with here to say it's the direct object marker, right? Anyway, Et Kedar Laomer, the king of Elam, and with King Tidal, king of nations. Again, they're doing that with the nations. It doesn't make sense to me. I would translate it as the word goyim. As a place. And Amrapel, king of Shinar, and Arioch, king of Elasar, 4 kings with 5. Yeah, okay. Although I would probably use kings twice because does the Bible? No, the Bible only says kings once. Sorry. Against Kedar Laomer, king of Elam, Tidal, king of Goyim, Amrapel, king of Shinar, Arioch, king of Elasar, 4 kings against 5. Okay, sounds good. And again, with Kedar Laomer, the king of Elam, and Tidal, the king of Goyim, and Amrapel, the king of Shinar, and Arioch, the king of Elasar, 4 kings against 5. Rashi says, this is just to tell you that when it says it's 4 kings against 5, and these were the ones who won, it's telling you that these are people who were, strong, even though it was 4 against 5, the 4 won. Okay. Meaning they overcame, right? Kind of a David and Goliath, I guess. Ve'emek Hasidim be'erot Chemar ve'yanusu melech Sdom ve'amorah ve'yiplu shama ve'hanisharim hera nasu. Interesting. Okay. Okay. So conjunctive vav, emek, obviously valley, hasidim, right? We talked about that before. Be'erot, right? So this is a way of speaking in Hebrew, right? Which doesn't translate exactly because, right, we talk about the doubling, right? Be'erot, be'erot. So be'er is a pit or well, right? Be'erot, be'erot. And both of them are written bechisaron without the vav. But be'erot is the plural of be'er, right? It was pits, 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 right? So it was full of pits. That's how you would say something like that in Hebrew, right? It was full of pits. You would say there were pits, 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 right? Okay. Chamar. So they're translating that as asphalt. Het mem resh. You can look in your concordance if you want. Let me see how many times this shows up. Chamar. Shows up 3 times. Yeah, asphalt, I guess. Tar, it's translating. Be'erot, be'erot, chamar. So it was full of pits and chamar, there was asphalt, right? So be'erot, be'erot, chamar, right? So this is kind of, they're saying it's one big construct. Be'erot, be'erot, chamar. Okay, full of pits. I almost want to say chamar is explaining how the sides, right? Because makes me think. No, I guess they were filled, right? The pits were filled with asphalt. I guess that's what makes the most sense, because if it was describing the pits, it would be in the feminine plural, right? And it's not. Yeah. So it was the pits were filled with asphalt, it seems to me. Okay. Vayanusu. So conjunctive vav. Yanusu. The yud is putting it in the imperfect. So the roots, I would actually say here is aleph nun sin. No, they're saying nun vav sin, right? And I guess the thing is, anus in Hebrew means to be forced with the aleph, and I guess they're saying there's the nut. Again, you could say that this is a different root, nun vav sin. Yeah, that makes sense, because the aleph you would expect to show up. But again, nes, it seems, means to push, or because it also means to raise up, right? So it seems to apply force, and then there are various forms of it. They fled. Okay. Veyanusu, they fled, they were forced. And it's in the plural, right? Melech Sdom, king of Sdom, Ve'amora, and Amora. So it's very clear that Sdom and Amora had 2 kings, because this is in the plural. It's just saying king of Sdom, and it's implying king of Amora. Conjunctive of, obviously, there Amora is the place. Vayiplu. So conjunctive vav, the yud puts it in the imperfect, but it's getting flipped. The vav tells you it's in the third person masculine plural. The root here, I would say, is nun pe lamed, which means to fall. Vayiplu, and they fell. Yeah, they're saying it's in the kal, which I would agree with. And they fell. Vayiplu shama. So sham means there. The hey at the end, it's saying third person feminine singular, but that's wrong morphology. This is the directional hey, right? Sham means there, shama means towards there, right? Ve'iplu shama, and they fell towards there, right? Ve'hanisharim. Okay, so conjunctive vav, hey is the article, nisharim is the nifal participle. Okay, so nifal is the passive, right? Those who were left. Sha'ar, shin, aleph, resh means to be left, to the remainder, to remain, right? Nisharim are people who remained, right? Because it's in the nifal, it's in the passive, right? V'hanisharim hera nasu. So and the other ones, right? The ones who were left, hera. So har means mountains, and the hey is the directional, so towards the mountains. Nasu, right? They fled. It's in the perfect again, like veyanusu, right? Nasu, they fled. Okay. King James, verse 10. And the vale of Sidom was full of slime pits. Okay. And the kings of Sodom and Amorah fled and fell there. And they that remained fled to the mountain. Hahara. Yeah, okay. 10. Now the valley of Siddim was full of tar pits, and when the kings of Sodom and Amorah fled, some of the men fell into them, and the rest fled to the hills. Fell into them? Oh, Vayiplu Shama. I wouldn't say fell into them. I see what they mean, but I wouldn't agree. Not necessarily. I would just say that they fell. Was full fell into them, and the rest fled to the hills. Now the valley of Siddim was composed of many clay pits. So Hamar they're translating as clay. And the kings of Sodom and Amorah fled, and they fell there. And the survivors fled to a mountain. And Rashi is explaining that Hahara is with the directional hey. And he's also explaining Berut Hamar. Yeah, similar to how we're saying it. There was, and you can look at the Rashi's there if you want. Okay, verse 11. Vayikhu et kol rechush Sodom ve'amorah ve'et kol ochlam ve'yelechu. Okay. The Sodom and Amorah always. Yeah, Amorah is always written bechisaron, it seems, without a vav. Okay. Ve'yikhu. So conjunctive vav, the yud puts it into the imperfect. The vav is third person masculine, plural. I usually say that this verb is kuf het hey, which means to take, right? And the hey has absconded. Et is the direct object marker. Kol means all of. Rechush is wealth. I think we had this before. It's written bechisaron here. Stom, all the goods of Stom. Yeah, I would say wealth of Stom, probably. I think we had rechush before. Resh, chaf, shin. Let's see here. Rechush. Yeah, in Genesis 12 and 13, we talked about Rahush, and there they were actually written Bemiluy. They were written with the vavs. Here it's written Bechisaron, which you can darshan if you like. Possibly because the goods of Stom were not exactly the best of goods. I'm guessing. Okay. Rachosh Stom va'amora. So the goods of Stom, conjunctive vav, amora, and amora. Ve'et, so conjunctive vav again, et is the direct object marker. Kol ochlam, all, so ochel here is aleph chaf lamed, right? That's the root food. Ochel is food, right? Every ochlam, everything that they eat, right? The mem there puts it in the third person masculine plural. Veyelchu, yelechu. So conjunctive vav again. The yud is putting it in the imperfect, which gets flipped because of the vav, and the root obviously has lamed and chaf. I would say it's hey lamed chaf, right? To go. Veyalchu, they went. Yeah. The vav telling you this third person masculine plural. Okay. Ve'et kol ochlam veyalachu, and they left and they went on their way. Yeah. That's, I mean, it's obviously like lech lecha, which we spoke about. Okay, verse 11. And they took all the goods of Stom and Amorah and all their victuals and went their way. Okay. NIV. The four kings. So they're reading that the four kings. I mean, yes, that's who did it, but why are you saying four kings? That's not in the verbiage there. Seized all the goods of Stom and Amorah and all their food. Then they went their way. Okay. Chabad. And they took all the possessions of Stom and Amorah and all their food, and they departed. Yeah, that's probably how I would do it. Verse 12. Vayikhu et Lot ve'et rechusho ben achi Avram v'yalchu v'hu yoshev bistom. Okay, so conjunctive vav. The yud is putting it in the imperfect. It's getting flipped, right? Again, just like we said that they took, right? Et is the direct object marker. Lot is his name. Ve'et, so conjunctive vav again, and direct object marker. Rechusho, his goods, right? We just had rechush, and this is written bechisaron as well, just like before. Ben Achi Abraham, the son of the brother of Abraham, right? And the Achi is the construct form, right? Ben Achi Abraham, the nephew of Abraham, right? The son of the brother of Abraham. It's still Avram. His name hasn't been changed yet. Vayelchu, so again, conjunctive vav. Yalchu, like we had, it's getting flipped, right? And they went. Vehu, so conjunctive vav again. Who is he, and the he refers to Lot, I believe. Yeah. Vehu Yoshev, right? I usually use dwelt. They're saying. I mean, I usually use settled. They're using dwelt. Bistom. So this is the prepositional bet, and stom is obviously in the name, and I think stom is always written bechisaron. So stom. Okay. Let's see what verse 12 in the King James. And they took Lot, Abram's brother's son, who dwelt in Sodom, and his goods, and departed. Okay, yeah, I can see that. NIV. They also carried off Abram's nephew Lot and his possessions, since he was living in Sodom. Yeah, not what I would do. And they took Lot and his possessions, the son of Abram's brother, and they departed, and he was living in Sodom. Okay? So now we finally understand why we had this whole thing, right? Because it's Avram. Vayavo hapalit, vayaged leAvram ha'ivri, vehu shochen be'elonei mamre ha'emori, achi eshkol, ve'achi aner, vehem ba'alei brit Avraham. So interesting. Okay. So, conjunctive of yavo, they came, right? It's in the singular, and it's, as usual, written the chisaron, and came ha-palit. So, the hey is the article. Pleta is to save, right? This is he lamed tet, right? Palit is the person. They're saying escaped, the person who was saved, I would say, escaped one or fugitive, and it shows up several times in the Bible. Plite, plitim, right? And I think the root also shows up, pleta, right? So 24 occurrences of that. Okay. From palat, and if you look at the verb, palat is to escape. Well, see, the deliver, right? Yeah, palta, palte. Okay, you can look at that root if you like. It's pe lamed tet. Okay, vayaged. So conjunctive of, the yud puts it in the imperfect, which gets flipped. The root, I would say here, is hey gimel daled. They're saying it's in the hefil. I guess. I'm not sure why in the hefil as opposed to the pl. Lahagid is, so that shows up in the Bible actually. Lahagid as the root, and I guess it has the infinitive, and this is of course of the infinitive. Yeah, okay. So hefil. Yeah, okay. Vayaged leAvram ha'ivri. So this is the prepositional lamed. Avram is his name. This is, I believe, the first time we have the word Hebrew in the Bible. Yeah, verse 14, first time Ivri, right? First time we have the word Hebrew. So Abram was a Hebrew. Literally, the root means person who crossed over, right? Ein bet resh means person who crossed over, and there's all kinds of symbolism there you can look up, but that's right. It's calling him ha-ivri, right? Which is, it's obviously talking about a nation, right? So ivri, right? He is ivri, right? So that's Hebrew. The who, so conjunctive of who, is the pronoun. So he shochen, right? This is dwelt, right? The other ones were yeshev, right? we said I said I usually translate those as settled to keep it separate from dwelt, because this is dwelt. This is the one that is also like Shekhinah, right? Shin, Chaf, Nun. Right. Okay. Be Elone Mamre. So conjunctive of Elone Mamre, you could say Elone Mamre is the name, or Elone can be trees, right? In the plural, the oaks, right? Either way. Shochen Be'elone Mamre. Ha-Emori, right? The Amorites. Achi Eshkol, the brother of Eshkol. The Amorites were the brothers of Eshkol. The Achi Aner, and the brothers of Aner, right? Achi Eshkol, right? And then, so these are names. That's curious. Ha-Emori, Achi Eshkol, Achi Anar, Vehem Ba'alei Brit Abraham. Yeah, you know what? It's almost like it's two sentences. It is like it's two sentences. Achi Eshkol Ha-Emori. The Amorite. So the Amorite, whoever he is the brother of Eshkol and Aner, and they, which I guess is Eshkol and Aner, Ba'alei Brit Avram, and these two brothers, right, were Baal. I don't think this is the first time we've had it. It's Bet Ain Lamed, means a master, right? Just like the name of the the idol that people would worship, Baal, but this is being used as a master, as somebody who owns, right? Owned is right. Baal is singular, Baalim is plural, but this is one big construct. It's one big smichut, three words. So Baalim, right? Owners, and it's in the construct form. Brit is the covenant, right? Avram. So they owned a covenant with Abraham, right? So they were people who were of the covenant of Abraham, right? So they were allied with Avram, and the covenant that God had made with Avram. Let's see how this is getting translated. Verse 13, King James, and there came one that had escaped, right? Hapalit is one that had escaped, and told Abram the Hebrew, for he dwelt in the plain of Mamre, the Amorite. So they're saying that Mamre is Be'elone. So he dwelt Be'elone Mamre ha'emori. So Mamre, the Amorite, that's his name. I kind of want to split it into two sentences, though. Well, we'll see what they do. For he dwelt in the plain of Mamre the Amorite, brother of Eshkol and brother of Aner, and these were confederates with Avram. So if you're going to say it that way, then all three of them were, which is a little bit strange to me. Let's see what the translation said. A man who had escaped came and reported this to Abram the Hebrew. Now Abram was living near the great oaks of Mamre the Amorite, a brother of Eshkol and Aner. all of whom were allied with Abram. Let's see what the note says. Or a relative, achi, or an ally. Yeah, I mean, achi can be more of a, but it literally it means brother. And the fugitive came and told Abram, yeah, the fugitive. It says hapalit, right? And it is the article, which is kind of interesting. Rashi explains that it's talking about it because so Rashi says because it is the palit, it is the person who escaped. It's actually talking about Deuteronomy 3:11, sorry, where it says Og Kirak Og Nishar, because only Og was the one who got away, so that he's saying this is Og. And you can look at the Deuteronomy 3:11 and see the rest of it refined. So you can look at you can look at the Rashis if you like, but okay. And the fugitive came and he told Abram the Hebrew, and he was living in the plain of Mamre the Amorites. All three of them agree. Mamre the Amorites. Yeah, I guess it. Okay, one sentence, and probably the cancellations would make this more clear. I don't know the cancellations, but I'm gonna take a look. And yeah, the cancellations is what would make it clear. And I'm guessing everybody's going off the cancellations. Let's see what Rashi says. Ha Ivri. So he's saying because he originally came from the other side of the river, the Euphrates River. So Ba'alei Brit Avram, what Rashi says, literally the masters of Abram's covenant, because they made a covenant with him. They gave him advice concerning circumcision. That's from the Agadah. So the Agadah is saying that they were also people who were circumcised, like Avram, who is a Hebrew, right? Okay. Let's look at the next. I mean, Brit. We talk about the Brit Milah, the covenant of circumcision. Brit Avram, I guess you could call it, yeah. But although the Brit of Avram, which I don't think we haven't gotten to, is Brit Bein Habatarim, between the pieces. We'll get there. Okay, whatever Brit Avram was, they also were part of that. Okay, Vayishma Avram ki nishba achiv vayarek et chanichav. Yelidei Beito 18 ו300 וירדוף ad Dan. Interesting. Okay. So, Vayishma. So the root here is Shin Mem Al Ayin, which means to hear. Obviously, it's in the imperfect and getting flipped by the conjunctive vav at the beginning. Avram is his name. Ki here means that. Yeah, I guess it's the conjunction. Nishba, right? So the root here is Shin Bet Hey, right? And this means to be taken captive. Right, the root Shin Bet Hey. And it's in the so the nun at the beginning is putting it in the nifal. It's saying he was, so if it was in the active, right, he had taken, so this is to take captives, right? But nishba is somebody who was taken captive, right? Because it's in the nifal, it's in the passive, right? Nishba achiv, literally his brother, but it's not his actual brother. This achiv, yeah, it makes sense. It's a relative. Here it means relative. Okay. Vayarek. So conjunctive vav, the yud puts it into the imperfect. The root includes resh and qof. So let's see what the concordance is saying. They're saying it's in the hifil of resh vav qof, which means to make empty, which is what I was thinking of, but I was wondering why. So literally it means to make empty. But they're translating it, and that's what it seems to me, by Yarek, and he made it right in the hifil, but they're translating it as armed. Maybe Rashi will say. Et is the direct object marker. Chanichav, right? Okay, so the root here is chet nun chaf, which means to teach, right? Chinuch banim, to teach your kids, right? Chanichav are the people who were taught, his trained, right? The people, his students. Yeah, I guess you would call it. I mean, usually when we say students, we say talmid, right? Which is comes from the root lamed mem daled, to study, lomed, right? But this is from chanuch, the people who were trained by him, right? To train. Yelidei beito, right? People who were born from, right? Vlad is, so Yeled is a child. Yeledim would be children, but this is Yelid, it's people who were born. Adjective, they're saying. Yeah, Yelide, people who are born. Again, the root for being born is a little bit complex. We've talked about it. Yelide Beito, people who were born in his house. I agree with that, definitely. But how you get there is a little bit different. Yelide Beito. Yeah, however your two of the radicals are clear. What the third is, I would actually say is Vav Lamed Daled, because that Yud there is part of the conjugation, right? Turning it into a noun. Yelidei Beito, people who were born in his house, Beito. Shmon Esre, right? Shmon means 8, Esre, Shmon Asar, sorry. So it's 8 and 10. Shmon Asar is 18. Shmon Asar. It's in the masculine because it's Yelidei, right? Which is also in the masculine. Shlosh ushlosh me'ot, and 300. Shalosh is written bechisaron here. Me'ot is written bemilui, as it usually is. I think usually is. Vayirdof ad dan. So conjunctive vav, the yud turns it into the imperfect, but it's getting flipped by the vav. The root here is resh daled pei, right? And this shows up several times because we talk about the rodef, right? The person, goel hadam, person who comes person who pursues him, right? Um, the root rodef, right, is to pursue. And he pursued it, right? Ad, until, as far as is the preposition. Dan is the name of a place. Okay. Verse 14. And when Abram heard that his brother was taken captive, he armed his trained servants, born in his own house, 318, and pursued them unto Dan. Okay? Let's see here, verse 14. When Abram heard that his relative, I agree with that. Very literally, it's saying brother, but that his relative had been taken captive, he called out. So they're translating it as like he called them out because it's vayarek, right? He emptied out. I would say he emptied out his house, right? These people were born in his house and he emptied them out. He told them to go out, right? He sent out. That's what I would do. He called out the 318 trained men born in his household and went in pursuit as far as Dan. Yeah. Chabad. And Abram heard that his kinsmen had been taken captive, and he armed his trained men. So they're also doing armed. Those born in his house, 318, and he pursued them until Dan. Because, yeah, it's in the singular, right? Rodef is in the singular. So Vayarek is the Hebrew. Rashi's saying no. It means to because he's getting it from. Well, you can look like its Aramaic translation Vazarez, right? So the Targum is translating this as he armed them. And similarly, in Leviticus 26:33, V'harikoti acharechem charev. Oh, right. And that's how it's translated to Aramaic. And similarly, in Exodus 15:9, Arik, I will arm myself with Arik Harbi. I will, yeah, so. Although I guess you might say that means I will draw out my swords. And similarly, Psalm 35:3, and arm yourself with a spear and an axe. You know, it kind of makes me want to say that it's like saying to draw weapons. Right? That's what it seems to me. Chanichav, he's giving you all the places where chinuch, right, means to teach. This is Eliezer. Chanichav, whom he trains is an expression of initiation. So Rashi says this also is from Chanukah, right? Which means to dedicate the temple. Chanukat habayit, Chanukat hamizbeach, right? And he gives an old French, right? Yeah, so he's saying that Chanukah also has the same thing. 318, and this is a midrash. I'm not going to get into it. Until Dan, for he saw his children were destined to. Okay, that's another thing, which we're not going to get into, but you can look up if you like, right? So, Vayarek here, that's I guess it means to draw weapons. That's my best guess. Okay. Vayechalek aleihem laila hu va'avadav vayakem vayirdefem ad chova asher mismol ledamasek. Okay. So, vayechalek, the root here is chet lamed kof, which means to divide up, right? I guess I mean, literally it means to make, to make straight or pieces, right? We say chalek, right? A piece, a portion, right? And he portioned, right? He divided. Alehem. So he divided his forces against them. Yeah, I understand that. They're saying it's in the Nifal imperfect. Makes sense to me. The root is chet lamed kof. Alehem. This is the preposition with the ayin, not the aleph. Alehem, upon them. Laila, during the night. Hu, the avadav. So in the night he split up against them. Hu va'avadav, him and his servants. Vaya. So who is the pronoun, third person masculine singular. Va'avadav, conjunctive vav. Eved means servant or slave. Avadav is his slaves, right? In the plural. Abdo would be his servant in the singular, but this is avadav, his servants. Vayakem, so conjunctive vav. Yakem, again, we talked about smiting, like, or lehakot. Here, it's the mem there is actually telling you that to them, he attacked them, right? We talked about lahakot. So the mem at the end is saying who he smote. Vayach, right, would be he smote. Yakem is he smote them in the plural. And it's in the singular. Interesting. So he split up. Oh, so this is where the Midrash. I wasn't going to do that Rashi, but the Midrash says that Abraham actually did it singularly. I mean, okay, you can read it if you want that way or not. Obviously, it's an agadata. Okay, vayardefem, yirdefem. So conjunctive vav again, and the root again is resh dalet peh, which we just spoke about, to pursue someone. Vayardefem is he pursued them, right? Similarly to vayakem, and it is in the singular, right? It's in the imperfect and gets flipped. Ad means until, right? The preposition. Chova is obviously it's a name, although chova also in Hebrew means something. It means a debt, right? Ad chova. Asher. So that's the pronoun relative. It's kind of being used here as the verb to be. Mi small. So prepositional mem, small means left, right? But here they're translating it as north. Not sure why. I mean, I guess if you're facing the east, small would be to your left. Prepositional lamed, ledamasek, to Damascus, right? Prepositional lamed and Damascus is the place. Okay, let's see how King James does verse 15. And he divided himself against them, he and his servants, by night, and he smote them, and he pursued them unto Hova, right? Hova, which is on the left hand of Damascus. Yeah, that's a more literal. NIV, during the night, Abram divided his men to attack them, and he routed them. So they're saying lahakot means to smite, means to be victorious. Okay, I can see why you would say that. Pursuing them as far as Hova, north of Damascus, and there's that north. Chabad, and he divided himself against them at night, he and his servants, and smote them, and pursued them unto Hova, which is to the left of Damascus. They also do left. And you can read the Agaritas if you like. Okay. I mean, Rashi's explanation of the Agadita. Okay. Verse 16. As soon as it loads. Vayashev et kol harachush vegam et lot achiv urachusho heshiv vegam et hanashim ve'et ha'am. Okay, so this is yes, this is the Hefil Vayashev. Well, yeah, it's to return, right? The root I would say is shin vav bet, right? To turn back. Obviously, only the shin and the bet are showing up, and it's an imperfect and it's getting flipped with the vav. Vayashev et, right, is the direct object marker. Kol means all. Ha rechush, right, the article, and rechush is goods, is written with bechisaron. Vegam, so conjunctive vav, and also et is the direct object marker. Lot, which is his name, Achiv, his brother, right, relative, but urechusho. So conjunctive of rechush again, written bechisaron, and his goods, heshiv, right? And this is the Hefil in the this is heshiv is in the perfect, which is why the hey is showing up of the Hefil. Heshiv, he returned, caused to return, right? Vegam et hanashim. So conjunctive of gam means also. Et is the direct object marker. Ha-nashim. So hey is the article. Nashim is women, right? Like we said, ish is man, isha is woman. Anashim is men, and nashim are women. Okay? We've had that several times. Ve'et, conjunctive of, et is the direct object marker here. Ha'am, the people, right? So that's interesting. I'm not sure why it says and the people at the end. Maybe he means the servants. Yeah, so the women who were captured and the servants or the slaves. Okay. Verse 16. And he brought back all the goods and also brought again his brother. So, again, Vegam et lot achiv. I'm not sure why they're saying again. And also brought again his brother Lot. I'm not sure why he says again. And his goods, and the women also, and the people. Okay. He recovered all the goods and brought back his relative Lot and his possessions, together with the women and the other people. Not sure why they're saying other people. And he restored all the possessions, right? Vayashev, they're saying restore, right? Okay. all the possessions, kol harachush, yeah, and also his Lot, his brother, and his possessions he restored, right? Um, because v'gam et Lot achiv or choshov heshiv, right? He restored, so it doesn't say it twice, and also the women and the people. Okay. Uh, no Rashis. Vayetze. So on the previous verse, I'll say it seems to me that possibly it says ha'am because it's talking about people who were taken as slaves, but they were freed. I would say when they were brought back. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Okay. Vayetze melech Sdom likrato acharei shuvo mehakot et kedar laomer ve'et hamelachim asher ito el emek shaveh hu emek hamelech. Okay. So conjunctive vav yetze. So the roots here, obviously, there's the tzaddik and the aleph. I would say is tzaddik aleph hey, right? Let's set to go out, but but the hey has absconded. Melech means king. Stom is king. So the king of Sodom, right? Stom. Likrato. So likrat means to greet him. To call him? That's a slightly... Yeah, this is curious, right? Yeah, krat has a specific meaning, and they seem to be translating it as, yeah, that doesn't, that's, yeah, I don't like how they're doing it. They're saying that it's the kal infinitive of Kof Resh Aleph. And that's not what I would say. I would say that the lamed is the prepositional lamed. Krat is meeting, right? So the root is kof resh aleph, which means to call, but krat seems to me it's a meeting, right? So it's a noun that's used, which is meaning, and they're saying it's a infinitive here. I don't agree. Likrato, to meet him. Yes, that is what it means, but I'm not sure how they think that that's an infinitive here. Okay, acharei means after. Shuvo, right? Shuv means to return. Shuvo is he returned, right? Mehakot, so prepositional mem, hakot, right? To smite, they're saying defeat, right? We talked about this before. That and yes, I would say it's in the hefil probably. There, it is written with the vav. It's written be milui, as is shuvo, but mehakot, from defeating, from smiting. Et is the direct object marker. Kedar laomer is his name. The et, so conjunctive vav, et is the direct object marker. Ha melachim, the kings, right? So the article, and then melech is king, melachim is kings. Asher ito. So here the pronoun relative asher is being used as the present tense of the verb to be. ito. So remember, we said oto would be if it was the direct object marker. Ito with him is when it's the preposition. El is the preposition with the aleph. Emek is a valley. Shaveh, so could be the name, but shaveh also means equal to. Who, so this is the third person masculine singular pronoun being used as a verb, right? Who emek, which is the valley, ha melech, of the king, right? Let's see. King James. And the king of Estom went out to meet him after his return from the slaughter of Kedar Laomer. Whoa. Not sure why they call it slaughter. Mehakot. I mean, it's to smite. They said smite before. Why slaughter now? And of the kings that were with him, at the valley of Shaveh, which is the king's dale. I'm not sure why they use different valley and vale and dale for emek, but they do. Okay. And Abram returned from defeating Kedar Laomer, and the kings allied with him. The king of Stom came out to meet him in the valley of Shaveh, that is the king's valley. And they're rearranging that so that it's easier to read. Not that I disagree, but it is rearranged. And the king of Stom came out toward him, right? And the him is Abram, right? After his return from smiting Kedar Laomer, and the kings who were with him, and this one is talking about the kings who were with Kedar Laomer, to the valley of Shaveh, which is the valley of the king, right? And you can look at the Rashis if you like. Okay, next verse. 18. Umalkisedek melech Shalem hotzi lechem vayayin vehu chohen lekel elyon. Right? So, interesting. This now we're talking about Malkitzedek, right? So obviously the word Malkitzedek means my king is righteous, my king is correct, right? And I think it's important that Melech here is in the singular, and Malkitzedek, right? So that's the conjunctive of Melech. He was the king, right? Shalem. So Shalem is obviously the name of a place, but Melech Shalem also means was a complete king, right? Because Shin Lamed Mem is the root we get Shalom from, right? Melech Shalem, he was a complete king, right? But here it's obvious that it's referring to a place name from the way it says, right? Hotzi. So again, we had. So this is the hefil of, I guess you would say Yud Tzadik Aleph, because the Yud, this is written Bemilui, it's written completely, and the Yud is between the Tzadik and the Aleph. So you would probably say the root here is Yud Tzadik Aleph. Yeah, that's what they're saying. To come out, to go out. Okay. Hotzi is the perfect, right, in the past tense, the completed action. Hotzi lechem v'yayin. So lechem means bread, and conjunctive vav, va yain, and wine. Yain is wine. Vehu, conjunctive vav, who is the third person pronoun, masculine singular. Vehu chohen. So the root here, chaf he nun, is priest, right? Chohen. So they're saying it's the noun, masculine singular, was a priest. That's not what I would do. I would say that chohen is the verb in the present participle, right? In the present term, right? And who, right? Vehu chohen lekel elyon, right? He ministered. I would probably translate this, right? Because yeah, he ministered or served. They're saying Kohen here, right? There is, I mean, we do call priests Kohanim, right? Kohen, but here I would say it's actually the verb. That's how I would do it. Vehu Kohen, and I mean I kind of understand. I would do it that way. Lekel, so prepositional lamed. This is the name, short name of God, Aleph Lamed, right? Lekel Elyon, to the God, Elyon, right? They're translating most high. Like we said, Aliyah, right? We talked about going up to the land, right? Is Aliyah. This the root is Ayin Lamed Yud or Ayin Lamed Hey, right? Elyon means, and this is written bemilui, written completely. Elyon means, right? Yeah, high, right? To, I mean, most high. Yeah, I guess. I mean, Kel Elyon. I don't know how much Kel Elyon is used. It's used in this chapter many times. It is also used in Dat Elyon, right? Numbers 24, you might want to look at. It's used quite a few times, right? I don't know if this is Shem Havaya Elyon, right? Shemcha, again Havaya Elyon, 53 times. So you can look that up if you like to see what exactly this name implies. But honestly, it seems to me that he was priest of a single god. He was monotheistic, and that's what it's really stressing here, it seems to me. King James, verse 18, and Melchizedek, king of Salem, Shalem, brought forth bread and wine, and he was the priest of the Most High God. Okay, not how I would do it, but then Melchizedek, king of Salem, Shalem, brought out bread and wine. He was priest of God Most High. Okay. And Melchizedek, the king of Shalem, Salem, brought out bread and wine, and he was a priest to the Most High God. I would say he ministered, but that's how I would say it. And you can look at the Rashis if you want. Okay. Yeah, they're all of them are translating this as, and he was, right? And you could say that this pronoun is being used to indicate a present thing. And Kohen, I mean, it is a noun also. You could translate it. I think you could translate it, and he ministered, but it seems they agree, and I can certainly see why they say, and he was a priest to Kel Elyon. Okay. Vayirvachehu vayomer Baruch Avram lekel Elyon kone shamayim va'aretz. How interesting. Okay. So, conjunctive, excuse me, vav, vayivarech, right? So, the root is obviously bet resh chaf, which means to bless. They're saying it's in the PL, which makes sense, right? Mevarech, right, is the PL, right? It's more intensive. This is a more intensive blessing than usual Baruch, right? This is in the PL. Usually Baruch, right, like we're going to use it, is in the Kal, which is less intensive, right? We have the Kal, which is the simple form, the Pa'al, right? And then we have the PL, which is the more intensive form, and this is in the intensive form, right? So this is, he intensely blessed him, Vayivarchehu, right? The He and the Vav at the end are the third person masculine singular, and he blessed him. Vayomer, so conjunctive Vav again, Yud puts it in imperfect, it's getting flipped. Amar, Aleph Mem Resh, like we said before, that's the less harsh, the more kind way of speaking. Baruch, right? And this is the kal past participle, passive participle, sorry. But it's in the male singular, right? Baruch, and Baruch is always written with milui, with the vav, right? Blessed, Baruch Avram, blessed is, or blessed be, right? I would say blessed is. Avram is his name, obviously. Lekel Elyon, so prepositional lamed, and again Kel Elyon, whatever that means, Most High God, I guess. Konet Shamayim Va'aretz. So the root here is Qof Nun He. It's in the present tense. Liknot, to buy. Qof Nun He, to buy or to acquire or to possess. Yes. Koneh Shamayim Va'aretz, right? We refer to God as the possessor, the one who acquires, who keeps, maybe I would say. Koneh Shamayim, meaning heavens. It's always in the plural in the Hebrew. Va'aretz, so conjunctive vav, and aretz means land. We've had so many times. Okay. King James, verse 19, and he blessed him and said, Blessed be Abram of the Most High God. Lamed, the prepositional lamed, you'll see it at the beginning of Psalms, almost always, right? It says Mizmor LeDavid, right? It's a song of David, and that's how they're translating it, is of the Most High, by the Most High God, possessor of heaven and earth. I would say possibly it's just the prepositional lamed to the Most High. We'll see. Okay. NIV. And he blessed Abram, saying, Blessed be Abram by God Most High, creator of heaven and earth. So they're translating liknot as creator here. And he blessed him, and he said, blessed. I'm not sure why they didn't use. Oh yeah, it doesn't actually say Abram there. It says Vayiverchehu, and he blessed him. Yeah, and he blessed him, and he said, "Blessed be Abram to the Most High God, who possesses heaven and earth." Let's see what Rashi says of Koneh. Like in Psalm 115:15, the maker of heaven and earth, right? Oseh shamayim va'aretz. And he's saying because he created them, he also owns them, right? They are his because he created them. Okay. So yeah, he's saying it's like it says in Psalm 115:15, and you can look it there if you want. Okay. Verse 20. Ubaruch kel elyon asher migen tzarecha beyadecha vayiten lo ma'aser mikol. Okay. So, conjunctive of Baruch, blessed, right? We just had Kel Elyon. However, you're going to translate Kel Elyon. Asher is the pronoun relative. Migen is the PL perfect of Mem Gimel Nun, which is like Magen David, right? And Magen David is the shield of David. Magen is a shield, right? Magen Avraham, the shield of Abraham. Migen is he who shielded. In the PL form, it's the more intensive. They're translating the PL of Magen, Mem Gimel Nun, as to deliver. It's an intensive shielding, however you want to do that. Migen Sarecha. So, okay, we spoke about before, there's the root tzadek resh, which means narrow. Tzarecha, people who besiege you. I would translate it as those who besiege you. Tzarim would be your enemies or your besiegers. Tzarecha, the people who cause you pain, even, because tsar or tzarat, it means leprosy, right? There's that 2-letter root there, and again, it's related to what we talked about at the beginning of this video. Beyadecha migen tzarecha. That's interesting. Migen tzarecha. They're translating. That's interesting. Let me see. Migen. Well, here in Hosea, it's actually used as. Okay, we'll look at the Rashis. To surrender. So that, okay, I can understand that. Although Magen, which is used a lot more times, right? So this is the PL form of Magen. It's the more intensive form of shielding, and kind of seems to be to give up is the more intensive form, I guess. Okay. Migen tzarecha, right? Your thing. Be yadecha, right? No, okay. He shielded your. He delivered them into your hands. He put them into your hands. That's what I would. Yeah, that's how I would. That's what it was confusing me, because migen beyadecha, right? Tzarecha beyadecha. The people who are he put them into, right? Captured, I guess you could even say, right? Migen tzarecha beyadecha. So prepositional bet, yad means hand. It's in the singular. Yadecha, your hand, right? Into your hand. Vayiten. So conjunctive verb. The yud puts it in imperfect. This is the root latet, to give, right? Which is a very it's used a lot of times to give, or to set, or to put. We discussed it before. What exactly the root is there, that's up to you. Lo vayiten, and gave him, right? Vayiten lo, and he gave him. Okay, so ubaruch kilyon asher magen tzarecha beyadecha vayiten lo maaser mikol. So Melchizedek says this. It says, and he gave to him. Maaser is a tithe, right? It comes from the root ayin sin resh, which is 10, right? Eser is 10 in Hebrew. Maaser is one in 10, right? It's a tithe. And he gave him maaser mikol. That's the prepositional mem. Kol means everything. It almost seems like Melchizedek gave a tithe to Abraham, but I know that's not how it's usually translated. Let's see. King James, verse 20. And blessed be the Most High God, which hath delivered thine enemies into thy hand, and he gave him tithes of all. Yeah, it's not clear what that he is. Well, I guess so. He stopped speaking. That's why, because Melchizedek, he's the one who's doing all. No, and he stopped speaking, and then we go back to the, because that's Melchizedek speaking there, right? Let's see how NIV does it. And praise be to God Most High, who delivered. Praise be? Oh, okay. I would have translated it as the same way. Blessed, like the King James did. Why would you change that? Okay. Who delivered your enemies into your hand? Then Abram gave him a tenth of everything. Where'd you get that Abram from? It's not in the thing. Okay. So, Chabad, and blessed be the Most High God, who has delivered your adversaries into your hand, and he gave him a tithe from all. So Rashi, the Migen, he's saying it's like in Hosea 11:8. So you can compare it there. And he gave him, so Rashi's saying Abram gave Melchizedek a tithe from all that was his because he was a priest, right? Now, I know that Christians have. Okay. I'll just say that every time I have looked into, like, the writings in the Christian Bible, and Paul says, and I guess it's Paul who says it there, says, and it's obvious, is always the point where I have a disagreement with him, which makes me think, if not makes you think, but and he says that that the lesser gives a tithe to the greater. I completely disagree here, and I'll say why. Because, look, I when hopefully the temple will be restored, and when the temple was, people would give maaser, would give their tithe to the temple, and the priests in the temple were not necessarily better than the people who were giving the tithes. That's for sure. Unfortunately, being priest is hereditary in Judaism, and doesn't mean you're a great person. Although, I mean, obviously, Melchizedek, who became a priest back before the Torah was even given, was obviously a great person, but I do not see at all why this would be somehow translated into Abram being a lesser person than Melchizedek. Okay, let's. Did we do verse 20 in? Right, we did, because verse 20 we did here, because and they put that Abram there. I'm not sure why. Okay, verse 21. Next verse. Let's go. Okay. Vayomer melech Sdom el Avram ten li hanefesh vaharechush kach lach. Okay. So conjunctive vav yomer, right? We've had this many times, and he said melech Sdom, the king of Sdom, el. This is with the aleph. Avraham. It's the preposition with the aleph to Abram, right? 10 is the imperative of latet, which we spoke about, right? The give, right? This is in the command form. He's saying 10, right? Give, tenly, give to me, right? It's a prepositional lamed. The yud is the first person collective singular, common singular, sorry. Give it to me, right? Tenly, ha nefesh. So the hey is the article. Nefesh literally means soul, right? Give to me the soul, ha nefesh, right? I would almost translate this as the living. Give to me the living. That's how it seems to me, right? Vaharechush, so conjunctive vav. Hey is the article. Rechush we've had many times. This is the chisaron, the goods. Kach lach, right? And again, this is lekachat, right? To take. Qof chet hey in the imperative, right? Take for yourself. Kach lach, and the lach is in the feminine singular. It's kach lecha. It should be kach lecha, but I almost want to say kach lach because it just seems to go well. It sounds good. The poetic, you could say, because it's poetic, but it actually, it says to yourself. I am guessing the Kabbalists go to town on this verse, but that's me. Okay, verse 21. And the king of Sdom said unto Abram, give me the persons and take the goods to thyself. Okay? Yeah, to thyself. The thing is that thyself is feminine. Okay, verse 21. The king of Sdom said to Abram, give me the people and keep the goods for yourself. Chabad. And the king of Sdom said to Abram, give me the souls and the possessions take for yourself. So Rashi explains that that by souls it's just meaning people, and it's not saying like kachlach. I'm guessing this is one of the things that the Kabbalists talk about, why it's in the feminine. Okay. Vayomer Avram el Melech Sdom harimoti yadi el Havaya el Elyon koneh shamayim va'aretz. Okay, so Vayomer, right, said, we've had this is the root Aleph Mem Resh many times, and he said, Abram, El Melech Stom. So the preposition with the Aleph, not Ayin. Melech is king, Stom is Stom. Harimoti Yadi, right? So this is so the root, I would say, is Yud Resh Mem or Hey Resh Mem. Resh Mem means up, right? Harimoti means I have raised, right? It is in the Hefil. That's the Yud is telling you that. Rama, or yeah. The roots, let's see what the concordance is saying. They're saying the root is Resh Vav Mem. And yeah, I guess, okay. I'll go with that. Harimoti. Yeah. They're because the Vav is the middle Pe'apoel, right? Yeah, that seems that. Let's see what the constructor does with Harimoti. Let's Rome. And in the Hefil, right? So Harimoti. Yep. Harimoti. Or Haramti. Or Haramti. Yeah, Harimoti. So there you have it in the singular. Right? Perfect. Okay. Okay. Harimoti, right? And it doesn't have the vav, but it does have the yud, right? Yadi. So I raised, I caused to be raised. Yadi, my hand, right? Yad means hand. Yadi means my hand. El Havaya, right? And this is the preposition with the aleph. Although, I mean, obviously, right? El Havaya. Here, it's the preposition. Although in other places you might say God Havaya, right? Havaya, the tetragrammaton. Kel Elyon, right? So the word here is a different word. This one is clearly God, right? Kel Elyon, right? Which we exactly how Melchizedek said it, right? So I raised my hand to Havaya, right? To the tetragrammaton. Kel Elyon, right? However you're translating that. Koneh Shamayim Va'aretz. And again, like we had before, Koneh Shamayim Va'aretz was the possessor of and Koneh is as usual written without the vav as normal. I was just checking to see if that was the case in both times. Okay, King James verse 22. And Abraham said to the king of stone, I have lift up mine hand unto the Lord, the Most High God, the possessor of heaven and earth. Okay. NIV. But Abram said to the king of stone, with raised hand I have sworn an oath. Ooh, where are they getting this? To the Lord God Most High, creator of heaven and earth. Maybe they're taking it from. Okay. Let me see. And Abram said to the king of stone, I raise my hand to the Lord, the Most High God. I'm not sure why they put it in the present. Harimoti. I mean, it is in the past tense, but who possesses heaven and earth? Let's see what Rashi says. Harimoti, literally I raise. This is an expression of an oath. So Rashi's saying what the NIV actually puts in there. I raised my hand to the a similar thing. Binishpati means I swear, and natati kesavasakach mimeni. I'm not sure why he's bringing those two verses, but you can look them up if you want. Okay, let's see here. Im michut va'ad sroch na'al ve'im ekach mikol asher lach ve'lo tomar ani hesharti et Avram. Okay, interesting. Im means it usually means if, but here, right, it's right. I raised my hand im, right, against. I understand why they're translating this as I will take nothing, right? I would probably translate this im as if. I would, yeah. I would translate it as if. I think that would come through in the rest of the thing. Michut, right, is prepositional mem. Chut is a thread. And you can look to see if it shows up other places in the Bible. Ve'ad, so chut does show up many times. It's a thread. Ve'ad, so conjunctive of ad means onto, right, until. Sroch, not a very common root, I don't think. It only shows up twice, and the other time it also talks about a sandal strap, so both times. Not sure where it comes from. Okay. Well, it shows up in Isaiah also. Sroch na'al, right? So it's in the construct form. Sroch is written with a vav completely, which, I mean, whatever. Sroch na'al, it's in the construct form with na'al, which is a shoe or a sandal, right? And that shows up many times in the Bible. And you can possibly say na'al comes from the nifal form of to raise, right? It's like a platform, right? A shoe is like a platform you stand on, right? So it's something that passively brings you up, right? So na'al, you can try to figure that word out. Ve'im ekach, so again, so conjunctive of, and again the im and if. Ekach, right? This is lakachat, to take. We talk about that root. Ekach, the aleph puts it in the first person common singular in the imperfect, right? If I take, mi kol, so prepositional mem, kol means all, asher is the pronoun relative, lach, again, it's in the feminine singular, the you, and not exactly sure why. All that is yours. Velo tomar, so conjunctive of Lo means not. So, and should not. Tomar. So this is, tomar is the imperfect second person masculine singular, right, of Amar. It should not be said, and you should not say. I mean, literally, it's you should not say. The lo tomar. Ani hesharti. Ani is the shorter form of I. Hesharti, right? So the root is ayin shin resh, which means wealth, right? Hesharti is the perfect of the hefil, first person, common singular. I made rich, right? Hesharti, I made rich. Um, I almost want to say, why isn't this in the hofal instead of the hefil? But you can play with that if you want. They're saying hefil. There's no yud there. I would think if it was in the hefil, it would be heshirti. No, I want to say it's in the hofal. That's what I want to say. But okay, Et is the direct object marker. Avram is obviously his name. King James, verse 23. That I will not take from a thread even to a shoe latchet. That's the first time I've seen that word, shoe latchet. And that I will not take anything that is thine, lest thou should say. Okay. I have made Avram rich. Okay. And NIV, that I will accept nothing belonging to you, not even a thread or a strap of a sandal, so that you will never be able to say. I mean, I can understand be able to say, but I think, yeah. I made Abram rich. Let's see. Neither from a thread. So im, they're translating as neither. Okay. Thread to a shoe strap, nor will I take from whatever is yours. Right? That you should not say, I have made Abram wealthy. Okay. Im mechut. Yeah, you can look at the Rashis there, but nothing particularly. I mean, he's particularly. I mean, he's saying that it goes off of Genesis 12:2, where God says He will bless. So he wanted to make sure that credit was given where it was due. Okay. Verse 24. Bil'adi rak asher achlu hane'arim vechelek ha'anashim asher halchu iti aner eshkol umamre hem yikhu chelka. Okay. So bil'adi means, I mean, okay, so bil'ad means not bil'adi except for me, right? It is in the first person common singular, but it's not translating that. Bil'adi, so for me, I would translate it. Rak is means only. It restricts whatever is coming up. Rak asher is the pronoun relative. Achlu, right? Aleph chaf lamed, to eat is the root here. It's in the perfect third person common plural. They ate. Ha ne'arim. So article hey, na'ar means young man, and it's used several times in the Bible, including referring to Isaac, right? And na'arim is the plural, right? The young men. V'chelek ha'anashim. So conjunctive of chelek is the portion, right? Ha'anashim. So I guess what belongs to ha'anashim asher halchu iti. The article hey, right? Anashim means men. It is with the yud, but that's normal. Asher pronoun relative halchu, right? So the root is hey lamed chaf. It's in the plural that they're saying went. Yeah, that went with me. Et, right? And like we said, this is the preposition at, not the direct object marker. Et with me, right? And the portion of the people, right? The portion that belongs to the people who went with me. Aner, Eshkol, or Mamre, right? So these are three names: Aner, Eshkol, and Mamre, like we spoke about before. Hem yikhu chelkam. They, hem is the pronoun, third person masculine plural. Yikhu, it's in the imperfect, right? In the future of lakachat, they will take, right? Chelkam. So chelek means portion, chelkam is their portion. And there's a setuma, there is a closed break in the scroll. That's what that samech there means. Okay. King James, save only that which the young men have eaten, and the portion of the men which went with me, Aner, Eshkol, and Mamre, let them take their portion. Okay. NIV. I will accept nothing but what my men have eaten, and the share that belongs to the men who went with me to Aner, Eshkol, and Mamre. Let them have their share. Okay. And Chabad. Exclusive, right? Biladi, rak. I would kind of translate it a little bit differently, but biladi rak asher. I would say for myself. I wouldn't take anything for myself, right? I'm not going to take anything from you for myself. Only that which is exclusive of what the lads ate, and the share of the men who went with me, Aner, Eshkol, and Mamre, they will take their share. And there's an interesting Rashi there if you want to take a look at it. Okay, hopefully this was helpful to you, and hopefully this was helpful to the world in this time of strangeness. Zephaniah 3:9, as I always end. Ki az epoch el amim safa berra likro cholam b'shem havaya laodo shchem echad. Right, and I believe we're really, with all the tools and everything that's available to us, right? God is turning over to all the people, right? Safa berra, a pure, a clean, clear language, so that we could all call in His name, in His holy name, to serve Him Shem Echad, with one shoulder, with one accord. And that always reminds me of, how it says in the Bible that you should not put yokes on two different animals. Like, you shouldn't do a horse and a bull, right, harnessed to the same, because it's not fair, right? Because they don't have the same shoulder, right? So it causes problems for them, right? And to the point where we will hopefully get, where all of us will be able to be yoked together, Shchem Echad, right, with one shoulder. Um, I look forward to that day. Shalom. Be well.